So we are recording, we are live, thank you. So welcome everybody to our Earth Day Everyday series. My name is Amy Rowe. I am a Rutgers Cooperative Extension Agent in Essex and Passaic counties. And it is my pleasure to host our session on EcoTherapy tonight. And I will introduce Joanne in a minute, but before we get to that, I've got some housekeeping things. I know a lot of you have been through our series for many weeks, but for anyone new, just want to introduce what we're doing here. So our Earth Day Everyday series is meant to give people actions and education for things that they can do to be more sustainable all year round. We don't want Earth Day to just be one day in April. So we're providing you with environmentally friendly actions that you can take and some information about how to be more sustainable in your life. But just a little background, Rutgers Cooperative Extension is the outreach arm of the university. So we bring the research and all the knowledge from main campus out into every county in the state. We now have an office in every county, but luckily with our online version, we are able to reach across the whole state and even into other states. I want to welcome people from Georgia here tonight. So we're really happy that everyone was able to join us on this beautiful day. And I just need to talk to you about something really important. At the end of our lecture here, we will be giving you a survey about what you learned from the talk and what you thought of the presentation and the content, and then what environmental actions you'll be taking from what you learned today. And so in order to collect this information from you, we have to have your consent to be a part of the study. So the very first survey question will be, do you consent for us to give you this poll and for you to give us this information? The poll is anonymous, so you don't need to worry, but we do need to ask you that question. If you don't feel comfortable, you do not have to participate, but we do use this information to improve our programming and to see how we're doing. So we would appreciate it if you do participate in the study. So thank you for that. And so also I will be taking questions for our speaker, Joanne, in the chat box. It should be at the bottom right-hand side of your Zoom window. If you click on more and click on the chat, you should be able to message me, the host, directly. And Joanne has asked that questions be held to the end. So go ahead and type your question when you're ready, but then just expect that it won't be answered until later. So please just be patient on that, and we will get those questions answered. So thank you. And then also, I just wanted to let you know that our poll will be popping up probably 5 to 10 minutes before the end of the presentation, just so that you can start taking it while Joanne is still talking, because if we wait till the very end, we tend to lose people. So we'll get that started while Joanne is finishing. So please go ahead and take the poll when you see it pop up. And then also, I wanted to let you know that we are providing these webinars for free. We don't charge any fees, but I wanted to make you aware that we have a way to donate to the program if you'd like to participate by supporting our other environmental programs, especially the Rutgers Environmental Stewards Program. So I will put all of that information in the chat box so that you can see how you could donate if you're interested. And we really appreciate the support. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker. Joanne Kinsey is the Family and Community Health Sciences Educator for Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Atlantic County, way down, very far away from me up here in Northern Warren County. But she is an expert in worksite wellness, health promotion, healthy lifestyle, community outreach, and then obviously today's topic is ecotherapy and how being in nature can provide you all kinds of benefits. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Joanne. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I don't know why I'm having a little issue with advancing slides. I'll have to do it that way. Okay, thank you. I'm really excited to be here tonight to be able to do this program. It's always fun to kind of reach out in a slightly different way into, topics, but kind of stretch a little bit. So I feel like this was a lot of fun to put together. So I absolutely appreciate the opportunity. Well, welcome. So glad you're here. It's a beautiful night. It's been a great day to be outside, and you probably will have some more time to be outside after the program. So I'm going to start right here. And in this program, we're going to take a look at just what ecotherapy is. But I thought I'd start off this way. And this is a video I took about a month or so ago in our community here. So I just want you to listen, observe. You can see that the leaves are blowing a little bit on this beautiful magnolia and some reflection. You can hear the wind. And this is really what ecotherapy is all about. It's about experiencing nature and interacting with it. So let's get started. So here are our objectives. We're going to look at the health benefits in particular of ecotherapy and what this really means in our lives and how we can actually start to implement this and adopt it into our own lives, hopefully, as our own practice. And we'll do some examples too. We're going to do some examples together. I hope they're fun for you. I hope they're interesting and give you something to think about, because that's the most important thing I want you to walk away with, is a little bit of a thought in your mind as to, how can I incorporate that into my life? So I started off by saying we're going to observe nature. And in all the pictures and videos you'll see today are pictures that I took, a few my colleague Steve took as well, and we shared them. So they're, except for the pictures right here, they're mostly pictures that have been taken and videos in our area, in our part of the country. So first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room first, and that is stress, because stress is what really creates those times when we just need something to keep us calm and to de-stress us. So we'll talk about stress, and then we'll get into our mindfulness. But we need to understand what creates all of this stress and anxiety in our lives. So the big question for me, for you right now to think about is, are you mindful of your body? Are you mindful of when your body needs something? Obviously, you pretty much know when it needs food, and hopefully you know when it needs water, and when it needs sleep, and when it needs rest. And it always needs healthy food to do that. So we need to take care of our body. So let's talk about stress. Everybody has stress, first of all. So don't think you're the only person in the world that has stress, or I think especially in this past year with the pandemic, we all have increased our level of stress so very much. We were already having stress within our lives, and it just exploded on us, right? But it's normal for everybody to have stress. What's different is how we react and respond to stress. Some people are better at responding to stress than others, obviously. So you can be thinking about that too, and how you respond to stress. So, but what's really important to know here is that stress can kind of wear on us after time. It sort of creates a lot of wear and tear. It's kind of like that snowball going downhill, and it can accumulate and get bigger and bigger. And sometimes it's overwhelming. We want to keep from getting to that point. We want to be able to manage stressful situations a little bit better today, maybe a little bit better tomorrow, and And sometimes it doesn't work so well, but for the most part, if we have some strategies in our back pocket, we can learn how to manage stress a little bit better. So let's talk about, where does stress come from? This is not a surprise to anybody, I'm sure, but there are external stressors. So these are stressors around us, whether we like it or not, in our environment. It could be something, it could be the temperature at the time, whether it's too hot, too cold for you. It could be people. Social interactions create a lot of stress. And I'm sure you can think of times when someone has really put some stress on you by the way they're reacting to something, or overreacting to something, or being very rude or aggressive. There are organizational stress. How about that? I'm sure we all feel that with our jobs, whatever they are, with our environment, with our communities that we live in. There are various stresses that are put on us with various deadlines and that type of thing. And then there are major life events, which we all have, and they sort of keep reoccurring in our lives, because we have family that has these events, and we have friends, and sometimes we get caught up in the stress of those events as well. And you'll notice that in major life events, you may say, hey, wait a minute, some of these are really good things, like, having a child, or getting a promotion, or whatever, getting married. These are stressors that kind of go both ways. They can create good stress, and they can create bad stress too, but they are stressors. How about daily hassles? How about that drive to work, and the traffic, and the commuting, and the you can't find your keys before you're walking out the door in the morning, and those unexpected issues that happens. So they happen to all of us at some point in time. Sometimes they happen to some of us more than others, but these are the external stressors, and we really can't control these very much. I mean, you can stay away from rude or bossy people for the most part, but you really can't control this type of stress. But then there are the internal stressors, and we all have this too. It could be in some of the choices you make. And there are foods that create more stress than other foods in your body. Not having enough sleep, that type of thing, not having enough time in the day, that's huge stressor for all of us. And we can control that. So just think about that. But how about this next one, negative talk? And this is the self-talk. Sometimes we get to thinking about, oh, I can't do anything right. Nothing goes right. I can't do this. I don't look like that. And over-analyzing ourselves to a point that is really kind of unrealistic. And we put that pressure on ourselves. So we can work on that. That's a tough one to work on, but we can work on it. And then there are mind traps. And this is really the result of that negative talk in your brain about, oh, I can't, and putting unrealistic expectations on yourself, and thinking that you can never be good enough. So we can control that too. Again, not really easy to control, but we can control it if we really want to. But then, well, there are some personality traits that we're born with, the perfectionist type of person and the workaholic. And I'm sure you know some people who are like that, and maybe it is you in one way or another. It's not a bad thing, but that's stress usually that you put on yourself. We can make a difference there. So what happens to your body related to stress? So stress doesn't just come and go and say, okay, we're gone now, let's move on. It's not that simple. Stress can affect all of these different parts of your body and create so many actual physical feelings and ailments that we need to pay attention to it. Stress is not something that we just conjured up in our brain. Stress is something that affects our bodies. So take a look at that list, and you can see that it ranges from something maybe mild, you may think, like cold hands or shallow breathing, to something much more serious with sleep disturbances or pain in your body, in your head, in your neck, and in your back. So stress is real, and we all have it. What we need to do is learn how to better deal with stress to get through our day. So now let's talk about ecotherapy. And this is really, what a fun area to take a look at. It's not new. Maybe the current terminology is considered more new, but it actually goes back for quite a long time, and it has had some various names over periods of time too. But ecotherapy is pretty much what it sounds like, and that is the connection between us and our environment, and that interaction and connection seems to go both ways, because we can help the world and nature in so many ways, and it helps us in return. So it's kind of a two-way street, which is really kind of an interesting thing to think about. Sometimes it's been called green exercise. It's been called forest therapy many times. And maybe you're more likely to have heard of it as being known as horticultural therapy. That is gardening as a way to help you feel better, to help you interact with the environment, but it's also a very therapeutic thing to do. So we'll move on into that. So because of ecotherapy, we enjoy certain things in our lives. Most people enjoy these things, the mountain scenes, the beautiful vistas, ocean or water views of mostly just about any kind, whether it's a lake or a creek. People tend to enjoy that. They like to take a walk. Maybe we'll call it a stroll, maybe a slow walk through a park, to just kind of observe and look around, and see what's happening today. And wow, this is really a great time of the year to do this program, because I took a short walk today and I saw some plants coming up in my garden that I didn't see even 2 days ago. And I saw more buds on the trees. So it's kind of like taking all of that in as you're taking that walk, whether it's through a park or through your neighborhood or around the outside of your home. Some people enjoy sunrises and sunsets. I mean, that seems to be something that's very popular because of the color of it and just the magnificence of it. So that's also part of what we consider ecotherapy, because it makes us feel good. These things on the list kind of make us feel good, and they make us feel that connection and a part of the environment, even though sometimes, like right now, I'm inside and looking outside above the computer. So it makes you have that connection. That's why very often people, when they're looking for homes or places to live, that they look for a view, or that coveted office with a view, for the leadership. Very often it's really an important thing, right? We need to feel that connection. It makes us feel better, makes us feel good. So gardening, well, this is really huge. And no doubt we have some master gardeners that are maybe in our audience today, and lots of other gardeners, that just enjoy gardening for the sake of gardening. Maybe they like the colors, or they like digging in the soil, or watching a plant grow, or a bush or a tree, or they want to grow some type of crop that they enjoy, or maybe some tomatoes on their deck or some herbs on their deck. Whatever it is that's so attractive about gardening just makes us feel part of the environment. That's where we can control our little piece of environment, right? One of these pictures, you see herbs growing on our deck. So I don't have a place to really put plants in the yard, tomatoes and so on, but I grow tomatoes and figs and lots of different herbs, whatever I can, in a pot on the deck. So you don't have to have lots of property to do that, or ground. You can have a deck, you can have a front step, you could even have a sunny window to help you to kind of bring that little bit of something growing into your life. Whatever it is that attracts us, people just love gardening, right? So what about the health benefits of ecotherapy? There's lots of health benefits, and it's really kind of fun to take a look at that list, right? What's very important in mindfulness, which is, we're talking about mindfulness and ecotherapy together because they're part of each other. is that mindfulness and ecotherapy help you to calm your brain. So you may be thinking now, why would I want to calm my brain? Well, we found through lots and lots of research that our brain needs rest. And if we keep it in hyper overdrive all of the time, we're really not doing a great service for our brain. It needs the rest. It needs the rest at night, and it needs these moments. And that's all it really needs to be, is moments of being still, just looking, observing, watching something outside. Maybe you have deer that come through your property. That helps you kind of calm your brain just for those few seconds. And it's a good thing for your body. Lower your blood pressure. Well, we certainly hear a lot about that, right? So that we can make an impact there. We can reduce the stress. We can help our moods. We can help ease anxiety. And anxiety, wow, what a big word in the past year, right? We are learning how to deal with it. And some days we learn better than others, but we have to find ways to have those outlets to just kind of calm down, get away from the everyday stress, and just be calm, be still, be thoughtful for just a few minutes. Ecotherapy can help you to keep yourself fit if you include walking at a park, walking through your neighborhood, walking on the beach, or whatever you enjoy to enjoy the environment. It does help you to get some physical activity into your day, and it really does help with that clarity and focus. We need that. We have to calm our brain so we can say, okay, stop thinking so much. Let's be creative, let's give it that chance to kind of sort of breathe and be creative. And it can help us to fight that fatigue. So I'm going to play this video for you. Let's just observe the snow falling. It's a beautiful scene. But it's a chance to be calm and really think about what's happening. So snow can be beautiful. Maybe it's not so beautiful some days, but in that type of scene, it is beautiful and it's calming. And it doesn't take a lot of time for you to feel that calm if you enjoy a scene like that. So, of course, we have to talk about safety, because when we're talking about taking a hike, taking a walk, going off on an adventure, maybe it's at a local park or a state park, we have to certainly be aware of our surroundings, and we should always let someone know where we're going and what we're doing, or maybe even have a friend come along with us. So we're going to make sure we're prepared for whatever the weather is, dressed appropriately, that we know how to manipulate this area we're going to. Obviously, we're not going to have our first hike in a very dense, deep forest. We're going to start off on something a little bit more calm and easier to manage, and kind of get used to looking at the environment and knowing what's around. And of course, if it's warm, you may need some water, to take some water with you. Don't forget to protect your skin. The picture on the bottom left, I really love. I took it at a lake in the fall. And I was thinking actually at the time about social distancing, and I thought, oh, look at these birds on this log, social distancing from each other. But that's really a very calm scene. And that type of scene in itself can be a beautiful moment and a chance to calm your brain, or the sunset in the middle picture, or maybe your version of enjoying the environment is going swimming in a nearby lake or the ocean, and just kind of seeing, what does that feel like today? What's happening in the sky? What about the wind? We have to take all of that into consideration when we are preparing ourselves to go for a walk or a hike. So be very safe, take care of yourself, know where you're going. So here's a beautiful scene. And I want you, I'm not going to say anything. I just want you to pay attention to what's happening in this video. So for many people, looking at water trickling or a lake or a pond or the ocean is actually very calming. Just kind of trying to understand what's happening there, on the water. Is the wind changing the direction of the current? Are we able to see any wildlife, any fish under the water, or maybe wildlife around? So a scene like this can be very calming and make you feel good. For some people, maybe it's not the most calming scene for them. For many people, something with a water view really kind of makes a difference. So maybe that scene isn't as good as this one to you. I'm not really sure. I took this one today because I knew I could see that there were buds coming out and a little bit of color showing. And I wanted to see a fountain in our area and see how it was reacting. And I knew it was breezy. It was pretty breezy here today. Actually, let's call it windy. It was windy today. And I wanted to see the movement of the trees. Now it's a little bit difficult to see, I think, in this video, but look for it. Look for what's happening in this picture. So you can hear the water, the sound of the water. And maybe you could see the trees moving a little bit. But as simple as it is, it maybe isn't the most magnificent view for the moment, but it's a view today. And it was a chance to just kind of say, oh yeah, that's nice, and just breathe for a few minutes. So let's kind of talk a little bit about mindfulness, so we know really what we're getting to. And I think this quote by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who has written many, many books on mindfulness, it really hits the mark. It's about being here in the moment, and about being here in this moment, and then this moment. So each moment has its own beauty. And if you kind of break it down that way, maybe that can make you feel a little bit more calm at time when you're stressed. It helps us feel good and alive. And we kind of get a good opportunity to sort of take a look inside ourselves for our inner resources, and how we're feeling. And maybe we'll learn something about how to heal ourselves. Mindfulness can be a very healing practice. Doesn't take any special tricks at all. It doesn't take any special equipment. It's something that happens in you, in your mind, and we can practice that. We're going to do a little bit of work on that in just a few minutes. So, super important thing to remember here is that in mindfulness, it's non-judgmental. We're not looking at nature and saying, oh, that tree should be blooming more, or why are those people walking the way they are, or like the blaming thing. Mindfulness is non-judgmental. There's no judgment in mindfulness. It is what it is. What we're looking at, what we're feeling is what it is. It's very important to recognize your feelings when you're thinking about mindfulness, to say, I'm feeling anxious today, or I'm feeling stressed today, and what can I do about it? So very often with mindfulness, we draw our attention to our breathing. That's the easiest thing to do, because when we're thinking about breathing, and we're going to practice this in a little while, when we're thinking about our breathing, it's kind of calming our brain. It's keeping us from thinking about all the other things around us that may be kind of intruding on our thought processes at the time. It's very much rooted on your breathing and your senses. So, how about the benefits of mindfulness? Well, there we go. It can have a great impact on your mental and emotional health. It can really take you to a place that says, something calms me. Something makes me feel a little bit lighter and not so heavy with the stress that's around me. It can help you to build up some tolerance to stress too, because once you start practicing mindfulness, you have a tool that you can use when you are feeling stressed. Say, wait a minute, let me just breathe for a minute. Let me look at nature. Maybe I can take a walk, even if it's a 5-minute walk, and just see what it feels like outside today and what's happening outside of my little workspace. It can help you with your attention span and your memory. I think we all need that, right? We all want help with our memory. And how can we make that better? It's really by sort of clarifying your mind, stilling your mind, that you are able to find these creative little thoughts that happen in your brain that you may be able to act on. It does help us very much to cultivate humility, because the environment is bigger than we are. You know, our path that we walk in the woods or in a park is bigger than we are. And there's so much to explore. It helps us to also be resilient. And we can kind of create that resilience. And we can build that a little bit more by getting out. Maybe it's a chilly day and you really don't want to take a walk. But maybe that's the day you say, okay, I'm going for a walk, hat, gloves, scarf, coat, whatever I need, because I think I can do that. And then once you've done it, you say, wow, I did that. I went out and it was a chilly day and a little bit breezy, and I lived through it. And I think I can do it again. So it really gives you those chances to say, I can do this and I can do it better another time. So we're gonna do a mindfulness practice with our eyes open. I want you to watch the scene and what happens in the scene, and then I'll just talk a little bit about it afterwards. There's so much to look at in that video, right? Did you see the play of the shadows from the trees on the other trees? You could hear the wind, I'm sure, and the leaves falling gently and the leaves falling even heavier. That's a moment in mindfulness. So well, I can't play it again. Maybe I can. I'm not going to play it again. But think about this, and where can you find this scene? Can you walk out your door tomorrow and find this scene very close by? Maybe not so many trees. Maybe it's not the fall day. Maybe it's not so breezy. But can you take a few minutes? Tomorrow would be great to go outside and really take a good close look at something in nature, maybe a tree or a bush or some flowers or some water, a waterway, and really look at it closely and say, hey, what's really happening here? What makes this so intriguing? And really try to figure it out. So in mindfulness, it all really boils down to making things simpler in your life. And you know those signs, I've seen them at many craft places, right, that say simplify. Well, that may be easier said than done, but you really need to figure out what really serves you in your life. Are you spending your time doing things that really don't serve you and make you the best person you are? Maybe there are some things you kind of have to like figure out. What's more important for me to do today? What's more important for me to do this moment? Or what's more important for me to do in my lifetime? You do need to have a healthy environment. There's no doubt about that. So of course, nutrition is a big part of that. Physical activity is a big part of that. You know, having a comfortable, safe place to be, to work, to live is also a huge part of that. In mindfulness, obviously, we learn how to calm ourselves, and we do think about creating a positive vision for ourselves. And I'll just mention there to set an intention. So in a perfect world, tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't jump out of bed right away. Just take a few minutes if you can. Just be very still and just express some gratitude for another day, for another chance to go out and see the world, see the environment, do your work, be with family, whatever you need to do. But express that in your own mind, being thankful for it, and set an intention for your day. What is your intention for today? Is it to be calm? Some days, maybe that's your intention. Is it to try something new? Is it to thank people for what they do to help you along your successful road and your job and your family? Think about setting a very simple intention for your day. And you may have the same intention every day, just to see, I'm still working at it. I'm a work in progress. And what can I do to make it better and to make me feel better about myself and who I am? So self-care, this is huge, right? I mean, we have really, in the past year, come to value the point that we need to take care of ourselves, because if we can't take care of ourselves, we cannot take care of everybody else in the world. Okay. I often think about, of course, I haven't flown for a long time in a plane, but when, when they're going through the initial talk in the plane about how to use the oxygen mask, and they say, put your oxygen mask on first, and then put it on the person with you. You can't help other people unless you help yourself. So you need to build some self-care into your life, into your day, little chunks, not talking about huge amounts of time. Maybe 5 minutes tomorrow, maybe 10 minutes the next week or whatever, to get you to think about how to make yourself feel better. Now this video has a lot of wind in it. So if it seems loud to you, you can turn your volume down a little bit, but pay attention to what's happening in this mindfulness moment. Okay, beautiful scene, right? Beautiful day, not a cloud on the sky, a little bit breezy, but look at the wildlife there at the ocean and how they interact with the water and the waves coming in and out, and how the wind feels on your body in that moment. So if you have an opportunity to take a walk next to a water view, a stream, a lake, the ocean sometime, then really kind of observe what's going on. What makes this so appealing, so inviting? Why can people sit at the beach for so long and just look at the ocean and be mesmerized by it? So how realistic is this in your life? Are you going to be able to set aside 5 minutes tomorrow to practice mindfulness, to practice ecotherapy, to take those few minutes of a walk, or maybe just observe outside? Maybe it's not a walk. Maybe it's a place where you sit on a park bench and you observe for a few minutes. You don't need a prescription to do this. That means anybody can do it. You don't need any special equipment to do this. You can do this by just getting out and trying it. And if you can't get out, if you can't be mobile like that, you can find some beautiful scenescapes, maybe even on your TV that you can look at. And I like using my iPhone all of these pictures were taken and videos with iPhone to say, hey, I've kind of created my own visuals when I need calming, let me just go play some of my videos to see what makes me feel better at the moment. So take a closer look at yourself and decide, can I do this? How much effort am I going to give it? How much time am I going to give it? So, all right. How do we get started? Step one. This is not rocket science. How do we get started? And I'm going to play this little video walking out of my front door, because this is the way to get started. I hope it doesn't make you dizzy. I tried to move very slowly. Just looking at the plants, at the little mounds of snow, at the bushes that I like or don't like, maybe, and the vegetation and how it is. This was late winter, and what it's doing out there at this time, and how I can envision it to be different come late spring or summer. But it's really just taking a look, what's that bark of that tree look like? Looks kind of different, right? So the best way to get started is just walk out your door. So let's take a walk together. This is, again, no more than a 30-second little walk on a path that's paved, so I consider it safe. It's daytime. It's in an area where there may be other people, although we won't see any people along our walk. But just take a look at this late winter walk and what things look like. And maybe they look even different today, just a month or so later. We just walked over a little waterway. It's a quiet day. It's interesting to see what the snow looks like when it's receding. We do hear some cars, and that's okay. That's part of it. Non-judgmental. How about these little pines? And the reflection in the water, which is always intriguing to see that. So, simple opportunity to take a walk. So you need to find your ecotherapy experiences. Now, if you're in New Jersey and you're familiar with Alair State Park, that's where this picture was taken. What a wonderful place to take a walk. The forest has no undergrowth at all, pine needles. It's a beautiful, quiet place to walk and to reflect. And you can even find some dinosaur sculptures there too. It's kind of fun. Look for the most simple opportunities. And if a park bench works for you, and that's the best place for you to observe, then use it. Have a little sit at a park bench and see what's going on. See what's happening around you. Feel the environment. Think about, our environment and how important it is to us and how we need it. It depends on us to make it safe and keep it in good standing. So let's watch this nice little scene. So calming. Watching the way the water is flowing over the rocks. This is nature at its best. It's finding its way And we have a great opportunity to enjoy it and make the most of it. Okay, so what are we going to do with all this information? Just a quick summary. And of course, you know, we have to say that your diet is important to keep you healthy and keep you strong. Obviously, you need lots of vegetables and fruit and legumes and whole grains. Nuts and seeds, of course, are good. There's lots of great foods to eat, and there's lots of things that are special foods too, and that's okay. We're allowed to treat ourselves from time to time. What is important to us is to socialize. We are very social beings, and we've been challenged in the past year that way, but we found new ways to socialize, right? On Zoom, and people are getting together now, even at a distance. So we need that interaction, and we look forward to it. We need to have some type of physical activity every day. It doesn't have to be going to a gym and working really, really hard. It can be that, but it can also be taking a walk, you know, and checking how many steps you're walking in a day and seeing, hey, can I make that better tomorrow? Can I walk a few more steps tomorrow or walk a different way? Be active every day. That is so important to your body. And don't forget to sleep and rest. We need that. We also need water, but we need to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, who is going to take care of us? Most of the time, we are the ones that are taking care of others, whether it's family members, friends, or colleagues, or working together collaboratively. So we need to be at our best to be able to work together.
Excuse me, Joanne.
Yes.
Could I start the poll really quickly?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Good
So
job.
everyone, please, if you would like to take the survey, please say yes to the consent question and then go ahead and take the rest of the survey. Thank you so much. And sorry for the interruption, Joanne. Just wanted to get that going.
No problem.
Thank you.
It's always great that we learn so much when we have these polls and opportunities to see how things are going. So please take a few minutes to do that.
Yeah, and make sure that you press submit when you're done. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, just some quick pictures here, you know, different views that people find interesting, maybe that I find interesting, that you may find interesting. One of the things to observe in nature is what it looks like in the different seasons and how it changes. You know, in the bottom right picture here, this is a flooded waterway that after heavy rain, those grasses managed to survive being flooded, you know, numerous times. So they're very resilient, but they're not water plants. So just kind of makes us remember that we need to do that, and we need to take care of ourselves. We need to find where the beauty is in our lives. So I would like to do a mindful meditation. It only takes about a minute. I'm not sure. Do you want to wait until the poll is finished, Amy?
You can go ahead. A lot of people have already finished the poll, so go ahead.
Okay. All right, let's do this together. So we're sitting in a calm, quiet place and have nothing in your hands. Don't try to be doing anything else in this moment. But I want you to, if you can, close your eyes. If not, you're not comfortable with that, that's fine. Then kind of just have your gaze down so that you have, they call it soft eyes. So you're not really looking at anything. And I want you to just breathe. Just your normal breathing. Pay attention to your breathing. Try not to alter your breathing. Just breathe. But think about your breathing. How does air feel coming into your nostrils? How does air feel going out? So now let's try to manipulate our breathing just a little bit. Let's breathe a little bit more deeply. Let's breathe in through the nose slowly. And exhale through the mouth slowly. Let's do that again. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale. One more time. And now notice your breathing. Is it different? Are you breathing a little heavier? Is your breathing back to normal? Try to focus on your breathing. And now let's open our eyes. Take a little breath and think about how you feel. Check in with yourself. How do you feel? Feel calm? Relaxed? That's what mindfulness is all about, just taking the time, a few minutes, quiet, calming, outside in nature, if possible. And you can do that when you're walking on a path. Pay attention to what you're doing. But maybe that park bench sounds really good for a chance to do some breathing and just kind of see how it feels. So I wish you some wonderful moments of very healthy and beneficial ecotherapy in your day. And you can start that. You can start it tomorrow and move forward from there. Thank you. I really appreciate being with you tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this and had some moments, just little moments of calm and reflection and thinking about environment and how nature connects with us and how we need that connection.
Okay, well, thank you, Joanne. That was very relaxing. You really have a calming way of presenting things, so thank you for that. I do have a couple of comments. I don't know. I didn't honestly get very many questions. Lots of people sharing their experiences with eco interactions and being out in nature, and even buying a house and feeling calm and restored just being in a new place that's surrounded by nature. But there were a couple of questions, so let me get to those. So someone had a question about the concept of the attitude of gratitude. Would you be able to comment on that?
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's pretty much what I was talking about when I was saying in the morning, when you wake up, to just lie there calmly for a few minutes and feel what you are grateful for. What are you grateful for? And by thinking about that, and maybe it's waking up, that's that's what we should be grateful for. If many other things, our health, our opportunities in life, our families, or whatever, and setting an intention. So to me, that's what you're talking about. How can I have a really good day? I can start my day that way, feeling grateful, setting an intention, and then working towards it, because my attitude will follow that. My attitude will be positive if I know where I'm going and what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish today. So I hope that is a good response to that comment.
Yeah, well, thank you. And just a quick reminder, if you are taking the poll, please make sure that you submit it. I see several people have started the poll but have not finished, so please submit it before you log off if you're in a hurry. Um, but then I have a lot of very beautiful comments about you, Joanne. I always learn so much from Joanne, and she is so calming when she talks to me. This was a wonderful session. I have experience with horticultural therapy. Your concepts added to my knowledge. Thank you so much. And then I also have a question about the benefits of being non-judgmental. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, I could. I think if you remember way back when we were talking about stress, we're talking about self-talk, negative self-talk, feeling pessimistic, um, and kind of letting that sort of rule the day. When we get caught in that type of thinking, everything stresses us because we just stressed ourselves. So we need to try to move away from that and being non-judgmental, even of ourselves. It is not easy to do. So I will warn you. But you know that saying, it is what it is. That's what we really need to be thinking about. Like, here we are in life in this moment, and it is what it is, and it is what we make it. So if we approach it in a very negative way, and criticizing ourselves, that type of talk is just going to go round and round in our mind. So it's kind of hard to be non-judgmental of yourself and say, oh, I don't look great today. I don't feel great today. I don't know why. Why am I doing this today? Take it with
Okay.
a positive attitude instead of a negative attitude. I think that's the best thing to say.
Yeah, that's a great lesson for everybody for sure. So I have a couple more people. Someone says I don't know, she's an avid walker and she walks on College Avenue at Rutgers, and she says beginning tomorrow she will be more mindful. So thank you for that. But yeah, lots of beautiful comments for you. Let's see. Someone would like to use this video to teach their elementary school students about ecotherapy and being present in the moment. But actually, I have a question since no one else has other questions. I was wondering if you know about I don't know if there is not necessarily a quota, but is there an amount of time that you need to spend in nature in order to get those benefits? Like, is it just 5 minutes a day? Is it half an hour? Is it an hour? Do you know about the research on that aspect? Like, does just 5 minutes drop your stress levels, or do you really need to spend a whole hour? Can you comment on that, please?
Well, I think, there's a whole range there. For some people, it may be 5 minutes. If you're feeling anxious and you take a walk, you could feel better in 5 minutes. For many people, it would take more than that, maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Maybe some people need even more time to de-stress. So you need to find what works for you, because we're also unique. So what works for me may not work for you. Right. I know there are times like when, for example, in our job, we spend a lot of time on the computer and sitting in front of a computer. And on those days when we just can't get away from it, it's very stressful. Sometimes if we take a walk in the middle of the day, like at lunchtime, even a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk, even walking around inside your house or your apartment makes you feel better because you step away from it and you kind of look at the world a little bit differently. But in terms of what the research says, I really can't comment on that. But I think we need to do our own research and say what feels good for me.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So yeah, so again, people are just giving you lots of compliments and saying how much they appreciate this presentation and how it's really going to provide them with focus and being mindfulness. So thank you so much for coming out to Earth Day every day. And the recording will be posted on our website in the next couple of days. So thank you. And this is great. This is wonderful. You were so comprehensive that we hardly have any questions. So I think you really covered everything here, and people are commenting on the videos saying just watching the very first video, they felt calmer already. So that's great. And then, okay, wait, here's a late question. Is there research on the benefits of smells and sounds while walking?
I did not look at that, but I know there is research on that. So, you know, you could probably do a Google search on that or a Google Scholar search to see what the research says. There's some really interesting, there's some interesting research out there, and it's kind of like this therapy has been around for a long time, maybe under other names, but it's kind of, to me, being reinvented, revitalized. How about that? So take a look, do some
Okay.
research.
Yeah, maybe just a repackaging of the same concept. But yeah, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming out, and thank you everybody for joining us today. We are so happy that you came indoors to learn about the benefits of being outdoors. So again, thanks for coming, and please don't forget to register for our upcoming sessions. And next week we will be having rain gardens and rain barrels and how to protect your watershed at home with our very own Michelle Backus. So don't forget to join us. And here's Joanne's contact information if you have any questions or if you'd like to talk to her about whatever relating to ecotherapy. So thank you, everyone. Hit submit on that poll. Everyone that was here has finished the poll. So thank you for that. And yeah, we hope to see you next week. Thank you so much, everyone.